Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you more happiness, fulfillment, joy, and obviously more motivation. In this episode, we're going to talk about what to do when you feel lonely. I know there's been times in my life where I felt very lonely. If I'd start by kind of telling you a story, a few years ago I was living in Southampton. I moved there, relocated there for a work opportunity. I didn't know anyone there, had no friends there, and for the first 5, 6, 7 months of being there, I felt very lonely. I was kind of living in a one-room bedsit, and many times during that period I felt like kind of giving up and leaving that situation. And if you're in a position right now where you feel lonely, maybe you live with people, but maybe the relationships with those people is not the way you want it to be. Maybe you are currently single, maybe you're experiencing this current lockdown at the time of doing this video and you're alone. I'm going to share with you 3 common sense but not necessarily common practice ways that you can deal with and get out of the feeling of loneliness. The first one that I did, going back to that experience in Southampton, which I want to share with you, it's a really simple one. It's what we call mood mobilization. Mood mobilization basically means you want to do things that make you feel good. You want to do things that will mobilize your mood from a feeling of being lonely to a feeling of joy. So for me, as I was living in that bedsit in that town in Southampton by myself, one of the things that I started doing that I did years before, but I got out of the habit of doing, was running. In fact, I started doing this particular run. I would kind of time it, and it became a game to me to see if I could beat my best times. So exercise is obviously a very good way to mobilize your mood and turn you from maybe a negative state into a more positive state. So I highly recommend, if you don't have something in place at the moment when you feel lonely that can mobilize your mood, whether it's a workout, watching your favorite TV show, highly recommend exercise, by the way, but something that will mobilize your mood and bring you from a kind of a low energy state to a high energy state is going to be a really powerful way to shift that feeling of loneliness. Second one is what we call powerful conversations. So what that means is to have a conversation with someone that you know, like, and trust, that you feel you can be really honest and vulnerable with, and tell them that you feel lonely. You know, when I was living in Southampton, you know, friends would check on me, how you doing, how you getting on? And I'd be like, yeah, everything's great, everything's amazing. And so really I was not being vulnerable. I was telling them everything was great, but actually I was getting off the phone and going straight back into lonely mode, straight back into feeling sorry for myself. Now, I'm not saying that you should just get on the phone and tell people, you know, feel sorry for me, but if you feel lonely, a powerful conversation, whether it's on the phone, face to face if you can, is a great way for you to remove that feeling of loneliness. I love being around people, but I also love time by myself. And because I have powerful conversations on a regular basis, on a daily basis, I never feel lonely. So there are times in the week where I spend 3, 4, 5 hours by myself, and I don't feel lonely because I've scheduled in the days before, the days ahead, powerful conversations. And in often, most times when I used to feel lonely, it was less about the environment of feeling lonely, like there's no one there, and more just a feeling of being misunderstood, or that I'd not been able to share openly and with vulnerability, my emotions, thoughts, and feelings. So I recommend that you think about who is in your life that you could share openly with, that you could have some powerful, vulnerable conversations with, that'll really help you with getting over feeling lonely. And the last thing is what we call stretch environments. You want to put yourself in some environments where you're forced out of your comfort zone. If you watch my previous videos, I talked about the fastest way to grow is to get out of your comfort zone. It is a place that we're most often uncomfortable with, but I always say, when you get out of your comfort zone, you spend enough time out of your comfort zone, you will create a new comfort zone. So if right now you think about environments that would stretch you, maybe it's the weights room in the gym, maybe it's going to go to that class for that hobby that you've been thinking about doing but been putting off. Maybe, you know, you've been thinking about doing martial arts but you're worried because everybody there looks like they've been doing it for years. I don't know what it is for you, but what I'm here to tell you is that when you put yourself in environments where you're forced to grow, you will find that you'll connect with new people, which will remove the loneliness. When I was in Southampton, I realized that loneliness was only going to go when I started putting myself in new environments. So I started volunteering. I started going to kind of different gyms, not just the one that I joined. I started paying for day passes to different gyms. I started going to kind of events by myself, networking meetings by myself, and making a real beeline and point of talking to people that I didn't know, and in a roundabout way saying, hey, I'm new in the area, I don't know anyone, can we be friends, right? It's a scary thing to do sometimes, but I'm here to tell you, when you do that, when you get out of your comfort zone, when you put yourself in stretch environments like that, you will instantly remove that feeling of being lonely. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit like, hit share, and there should be a link somewhere underneath the video that you can book a complimentary coaching call with me. If you have enjoyed this and you feel like you want to talk more about this, you feel like you're lonely and you go, do you know what, I could really benefit from a coaching call about this, I feel like I need to go deeper on this, then there should be a link underneath the video to book a complimentary coaching call with me worth £300. That's it. Miles More Motivation, over and out. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.